Chapter 5, Beyond Fear. Mind, Evolution, and the Dream. In Miguel's teachings, he reiterates that all of our ideas and dreams come from the sun. We can only perceive things through reflected light, which originates as sunlight. Reality, as we know it, is the recreation in our minds of reflected light. When the Bible says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God," it is both shamanically and scientifically true. Sound is akin to light and has the same generative power as light. Sound is energy vibrating at varying speeds. Pure energy has the qualities of sound, color, temperature, motion, memory, and awareness. Life also possesses these qualities. Einstein, in his theory of the universe, compared energy with mass and velocity of light. The Toltecs made a similar observation in different words. Everything is light. Everything we know is light-based. From an etheric standpoint, human life on Earth was created in order to dream. Humans create the reality they perceive in their dreams. Whatever we perceive is a manifestation of our dream. The transformation of energy into the dream begins in matter. The light we perceive reflected from a material object we then recreate as an image inside our eye. Always indirectly. This process of perception involves our emotions. The images we recreate in our mind from reflected light are processed through our emotions, and this activity develops our mind. Our mind is made from emotions, just as our body is made from atoms. Crucial, pretty much the key point of this whole chapter. Our mind is made from emotions, just as our body is made from atoms. At birth, the baby has no mind. It has the equipment, the brain, but it is immature. The child has to learn everything. The brain is a complex of blank computers. It is not conscious. Although the newborn child has the cellular memory of evolution and a few emotions, it does not have the mind to create the dream. The child is born with all the knowledge of the universe, but it cannot think. It just knows. Its DNA carries the silent knowledge of life. As soon as the neural system is developed in utero, it functions, but before birth, it is not directly in contact with the light outside, only indirectly through the mother. Therefore, the child receives little of the information carried by light until birth. For several years after birth, the child is still free like a wild animal. It is not domesticated yet, and therefore it has not accepted the dream that is passed to it by its family, religion, and culture. As the child is domesticated, the development of its mind comes through emotions caused by punishment and reward. Gradually, the child learns all the rules of the system it inherits. It learns to behave a certain way. It absorbs the dream of its society, but it did not choose the dream. Domesticated youths usually rebel against the dream imposed on them. They are no longer innocent. In the westernized culture that dominates Earth, young people see violence everywhere. Violence is fashionable in entertainment and in the gangs that youths identify with in all parts of the world. The system of violence swallows them. They look up to accepted idols such as the macho male and the female as a sexual object. The criminal becomes a hero. The models our young people follow are hellish. They contribute to the nightmare that encroaches upon the world. The woundedness Smokey Mirror saw all around him continues today, but now the crisis affects the whole of society. We are looking for a better way to relate to one another. At the end of this Piscean age, we find that our collective dream is hell. We can see that it has poisoned us and the earth, and we assume that it is poisoning the universe itself. For the sake of the earth and the universe, the human dream is due for a correction as we move into the Aquarian age. Changing our dream is an evolutionary step forward. With each zodiacal age, or each sun in Aztec terms, evolution progresses. Evolution was directed for millennia toward the development of the human capacity to think, to dream, and to create reality. The next step is to grow beyond fear and into the practice of love. Love generates benign creative energy. We are discovering the energy frequency of love and its benefits in healing, education, politics, and spirituality. The judge and the victim. There are two main rulers in hell, the judge and the victim. In our mind, our judge blames us. Our victim receives the blame and feels guilty. These two aspects of ourselves hate each other. Communication between them and each of us was broken during the process of our domestication, no matter which beliefs were held by the elders who raised us. Humans are domesticated animals. Before we were born, the dream of the planet already existed, with all of its rules, beliefs, and hopes. In the dream, they are there waiting for the new humans to grow up and develop their minds in order to continue to control the dream. A pure, normal human being would be one who is still free, or as she was in childhood before domestication, at the approximate age of 1.5 to 3 years of age. At that age, the child has developed enough mind to understand the abstract and to control language enough to communicate with other humans. However, the process of education has yet taken place. This little human follows the normal tendency to play, to explore, to laugh, and to enjoy life. Almost all the child's emotions are coming from love, unless he is angry or in pain. This little human is free to be, and he lives in the present. He does not worry about the past. He's not worried about the future. The adults live constantly in the past, and they are so worried in their effort to build their future that they avoid living in the present. For the adult, all the dramas of life are serious. But for the child, nothing's really that important. The dream waits to teach the small child how to join the old dream of the planet. Our parents, older brothers and sisters, our teachers, the school, religion, society, and the media all contribute to keeping the dream of the planet alive through domestication. Domestication comes through reward and punishment. Mom and Dad domesticated us just the way they were domesticated. They introduced us to the concepts of good and bad by rewarding the good and punishing the bad. Usually, when we feel the punishment, we have the sense of injustice and we rebel. That opens a wound in our mind, and the result of that wound is to create emotional poison. We feel that pain in our heart as an emotional, not a physical pain. From this wound, the emotional poison gets into our mind. Fear begins and starts controlling our behavior and our mind. We become afraid of receiving punishment, and we also fear not receiving a reward. The reward comes to be a sign of acceptance. We struggle to be worthy of it in the eyes of our parents, our teachers, our friends, and society itself. Many times during the day, as we grow up, we are subject to the judgment of others and to the polarities that our society supports, such as right and wrong, beautiful and ugly. Soon, we begin making our own judgments. Domestication becomes so strong that we no longer need anyone to domesticate us because we take over the task of our domestication by punishing ourselves and occasionally by rewarding ourselves. 3 components in our mind are actively engaged in our self-domestication. The judge is that part of our mind that judges what we do and what we do not do, what we feel and what we do not feel, what we think and what we do not think, and it also judges everything and everyone. The victim receives the judgment, and usually the judge finds the victim guilty. The victim has a need to be punished. The victim part of our mind feels unworthy and repeats over and over again, I am not good enough, nor intelligent, nor strong, nor beautiful enough. I am a loser. Why should I try? The third part of the mind involved in the judgment process is the belief system we have been taught, which includes all the rules on how to dream our life. The belief system is a kind of constitution or holy book where everything that we believe without discussion is our truth. I call this belief system the Book of Hell. The inner judge bases all judgments in the belief system. Once we recognize this, we see that there is no justice in our own mind. If there were justice, we would pay for each of our mistakes once. But our judge makes us pay 1,000 times. We pay when we make a mistake and when we remember the mistake or when anyone reminds us of the mistake. Each time, there is the judge finding our victim guilty and punishing us again. Our belief system comes to us from society during the period of domestication. We absorb it from our family, the school, and religion. At no time does the small child have a choice of what to believe. Throughout the domestication process, the small child rebels, but he lacks the power to change anything. We rebel also as teenagers when we are searching for our identity. At this crucial time in our lives, we see how the belief system represses our normal human instincts and how adults manipulate young people. The judge, the victim, and the belief system, or the Book of Hell, are together a parasite in our mind. The parasite is a living being made from ethereal energy. To survive, the parasite feeds on emotions that are created by the human brain. These are emotions that come from fear, anger, sadness, depression, jealousy, and victimhood. The parasite controls our dream. It creates a dream of fear, a nightmare, in order to control the brain, which is the factory of emotions. The parasite controls the production of those human emotions which are necessary for its survival. At the same time, the brain stops producing the emotions it needs for the growth of the soul, which are the emotions that come from love. The parasite functions in a similar way to a virus. The parasite functions in a similar way to a virus, which attacks a cell. The virus controls the reproduction of the cell so that it cannot produce the properties it needs for the cell's own growth. Instead, it produces what the virus needs for its own growth. The virus lives at the expense of the cell, and it damages the cell little by little until it is destroyed. We see all around us that human beings are engaged in self-destructive behavior. This is the outward sign of the self-destructive mind controlled by the parasite. The Toltecs were aware of the parasite's existence, and they knew that humans have only two choices in regard to this invasive force. One choice is to surrender to the parasite, but the other choice is similar to that made by the little child and the teenager: rebel, declare war against the parasite, and declare the freedom to be oneself, to have one's own dream, to use one's own mind, to create the emotions that feed the real person that we are. The Toltecs, of course, chose to rebel. That is why they are called warriors. This is the real meaning of a warrior. A warrior is that human who has the awareness of the parasite in his or her own mind and declares a war on the parasite for the purpose of self-healing. Every value system has its own Book of Hell. One book or the other is passed on in any family. The judge and victim are present in us, regardless of the rightness or wrongness of the belief system we have absorbed. The warrior's task is to rebel against our inner judge and victim. In every contemporary culture, there is an emphasis on suffering. A belief in suffering begets suffering. The Christian heritage teaches that it is necessary to suffer in order to copy Jesus. Miguel says that this is a false dream or illusion. Jesus himself preached that love was the answer to life. Placing a high value on suffering is just one example of beliefs that permeate our minds and our collective dream. In such phrases as "no pain, no gain," we reveal how deeply we have accepted the idea that we have no right to the joys of painlessness. And then he says, to summarize, in the coming chapters, prepare to leave hell and imagine yourself in heaven on earth. Hope y'all enjoyed it.